Hello and welcome to Hidden Existence. Hope everybody's doing all right out there tonight. With me tonight, Bigfoot Hunter, Max Powers. Dun, dun, dun.
Hey, you're not supposed to put it first. It's Bigfoot Hunters, small letters, parentheses afterwards.
He's
It's
still
just
there though, isn't it? It's still a
it's
big, big title that to have.
it is. It is. It's a big job to have. It's a lot of responsibility.
Huge job.
Yeah.
Huge job. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't want that job.
No?
I don't think so. I mean, no. I wouldn't know where to go. I wouldn't know where to look or even how to, hunt anything down, let alone a Bigfoot.
I
But,
don't know.
First time for everything. Who knows? Who knows? You're off Bigfoot hunting soon, aren't you?
I am. I'm leaving in a couple weeks to head down, take the long road to Florida, off through the woods and mountains, and hunt Bigfoot with whoever will spend the time with me to show me how they do it. So
are you shouting out for companions, or are you just going to turn up?
Yeah, actually, if there's any Floridians, I'm going to be. I have a few engagements. I have my usual engagements with Ron and Matt, and anyone in there like peripheral that'll hang out with me. But yeah, email me at Max Powers, Bigfoot Hunter @gmail.com, and let me know where you are and what you do, and I'll see if I can fit you in. Not that I have that big a schedule, but
Better check the diary though. Better check the diary. So Max Powers, Bigfoot Hunter. I'm going to put that on the. Is it in brackets the Bigfoot Hunter in your email? Was it just Max Powers?
There's no brackets. It's Max Powers, Bigfoot Hunter without the.
I call it bracket. We call it brackets over here.
Parentheses, brackets.
I rarely use that term. In fact, I've never used that term. Kerry said it to me once, and I went, "What?
Parentheses you've never used?
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Huh? I've never drank out of aluminium can.
That's hard. Yeah. To do.
Yeah.
At gmail.com. So you're going out, and Max Powers, Bigfoot
Hunter @gmail.com. That's me.
There you go. Okay, so if you're in Florida, if you fancy hooking up with Max and doing some Bigfoot hunting, get in touch. So what are you going to? What for you is worth bringing back? If you can capture anything, what's important? I mean, we might as well come out with it. we're going to talk about pareidolia tonight.
We are,
because it's really toxic. The whole thing when you boil it down to what it is, what it becomes, and
does it get us anywhere? Does it get us anywhere?
No.
It's all over the internet, right? Bigfooters are all over the internet now, and on any channel you go to, you're going to see people, either the people who put up the videos or the people that watch them, see something always in the background, and whether or not it's an actual Bigfoot, I don't know. I think we're kind of muddying up the waters a bit with all this.
Definitely. What do people think? I want to know what people think. Is it really worth putting time and energy into going over videos or photos, trying to see something that you can't see fully, but there's a glimpse of something? You can't possibly know for a fact there's something there. But, do people want to see this sort of stuff? Is there some sort of enjoyment in looking at these things and speculating? For me, it's a time waster. That's just my opinion. People can do what they want, but for me, it's a really big time waster. That's why I won't even spend time guessing what Bigfoot is. I haven't got a clue. I won't even begin to start guessing. So, I mean, what do people think? What do you think?
I agree. It's a lot of wasted time, but not if one of them's a Bigfoot. The problem is, in most of these pictures that we see, we're only getting half the story. We're only getting that shadow or that shape in the woods. And most of the time it's so obscure that, you know, they have to circle it in red. And we were talking earlier today, if you were a bird hunter and you said, oh, look at this, you know, whatever warbler that I just got this awesome photo of, and it's so far off, you know, and you had to circle it in red for them to see it, and they can't quite see it, then they're going to say, well, that's really not a warbler that you got there. What is it? You know, or they're going to say, how do we know that's a warbler? They're going to want more information. And that's the problem, is we're just getting half the information.
Everybody would feel the same apart from this subject. It's like we really like, for some reason, there's a really low standard of what people will accept for an image to go, oh yeah, or even like, even remotely, even 3/4 of something, instead of just a little glimpse or a shape or something. Why is it okay to, you know, demand, you know, want to see a clear picture of a bird, but yet, you know, and would go, no way, I'm not looking at a bush with a bit of a tail sticking out at the end. We have standards for that, and yet for Bigfoot, we don't care. Any old blob can come across, and people are really intrigued by it.
There is some difference, and in the people's defense, one, we really don't have actual pictures of Bigfoot. You know, people will tell you there's this one and that one, you know, whether it's Freeman or whether it's Patterson Gimlin or what have you, but we don't have actual pictures, right? And those of us who do go out in the woods, we're pretty much beating our head against the wall looking for something that we don't even know what proof is, because we don't have any. So to a certain extent, to a lot of these people, it's probably a little bit of motivation to get just something to cling to. So I don't want to badmouth anyone. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to scold anyone. That's not my job. I'd prefer that people out there look at their evidence the way we're all looking at it. Okay, let's say it is a Bigfoot. How do I prove that that's a Bigfoot? One of the best ways, I think, to prove it's a Bigfoot is to go back and get a shot, you know, stand in that same spot, right? I have pictures that aren't Bigfoot, that, or maybe Bigfoot, that I think are Bigfoot. I know exactly where I was. I know the date I was there. I could probably find you the GPS coordinates for that spot. You don't forget these things. You remember the weather. You remember the time of day. You remember the sunlight. You can go back to that spot that you just got that whatever picture, and you can try and recreate it. If you take the shot again and Bigfoot's still there, either he really likes standing there, in which case you can go over and probably find evidence on the ground, whether it's hair or footprints or something. And that's way better evidence than a fuzzy picture. Or if it's not there, maybe it was Bigfoot. Maybe it was a Bigfoot. Take that picture without the Bigfoot there, so then we can compare whatever the shadow or blob or whatever is with the fact that it's not there the second time. And one thing I've learned through, like, you know, I hang out with a professional photographer when I'm down at the swamps in Florida, and you can't just take that one shot to follow up. You got to kind of move your camera back and forth so that you can see if you're in the proper place, if you have the proper angle, because standing in that exact spot, holding the camera the exact way, may not do it. But by doing that, you'll also see if there's any kind of parallax involved, that, you know, where it was tree branches crossing or those kind of things that distorted the image to look like something. But I think it's some of it is the wishful thinking, that hope that, you know, ask anyone about their Bigfoot evidence and they're going to defend it.
I mean, you have to have some context with it, don't you? You have to have felt something, saw something, smelt something. I mean, to just pick a picture out, something out of a picture, you need more than that. And I think that's just like common sense.
I think, yeah.
You know,
Look,
you
is
can't
that
say
too
something
obvious?
is there if you don't know it's there, and that's the bottom line.
Right. An interesting exercise for people to do who see Bigfoot everywhere is to look for Bigfoot everywhere. Just take a picture of your backyard and, go up to the screen and look at every little facet. Do I see two eyes? Do I see a nose? Do I see a mouth? Is that a Bigfoot? Probably not in my backyard. Probably not in a tree branch where he couldn't physically be, because that branch wouldn't hold him. But the odds of them finding something like that, because of the whole principle of pareidolia and the way our brains work with it, is pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm on a roll tonight speaking, so if I
you're doing good.
if I start talking too much, just
don't worry.
let me know.
Don't worry. I'll let you know. Let's just get some comments before they go. Hi, Ray Doll. Someone has to get it on video, blinking, moving, or something. Definitely. That's what I want. Like I said the other night, there's people, different levels of research, what they're doing. People can do whatever they want to do. That's absolutely fine. But for me, physically, no, I can't go, and I'm not in America or Canada. I've probably got more chance of doing something over there than here. But I want to see something moving, a bit like another Patty footage. I mean, really. But even then, it doesn't give us answers, does it? We kind of know they're out there, and for me, there's no point in trying to show up some blobby picture with trees and stuff. When we're already pretty sure. I think we know. I've never seen one. I trusted KERRY, and his encounter and a few other people. That's all I can go off, and it's a lot just to go on trust. So you really need to be convinced, I think, that someone is telling the truth and being genuine, because there's not a lot of proof. We have to be really careful what we're trying to say or do in this subject, based on the fact that we don't know anything and nobody can prove anything, and to trying to argue with people because of their opinions is ridiculous. If you don't agree on something, move on. Don't keep trying to push it when you can't prove it.
Opinions are like belly buttons.
That's it.
Everyone has one.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the saying, but it's close.
It's close.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. In the right direction. But yeah. Hi, Jean. We have film from the 60s, never been proved fake. That's right. That's right. I mean, that's pretty.
That's true. That's true. Don't be offended, but I've got friends working on that. So.
Yeah. Well.
And I don't think. Yeah, I don't think they'll prove it a fake. I really don't. I don't know.
How do you do that? How do you do that?
I don't know how you do that with all the people who look at the figure and analyze that. Right now, people are analyzing the film and how hard that shot would have been to get. So we go back to all the analysis that's been done on the costume and the fact that no one thinks it could be a costume. The technology doesn't exist for it. So let's say somehow it was staged. How did they do that? How could they have done that? So it's an enigma. And because of that, it's proof to a lot of us, but it's not proof, to the scientific world. And I don't need to prove it to the scientific world because I've seen one. And there's a lot of people out there who've seen them. There are a lot of people out there who just, have that feeling that, hey, this thing's real, and that's fine. But at some point, whether it's to protect the habitat or what, we need to substantiate this thing somehow,
Definitely.
And I don't think it's going to be with a fuzzy picture of what, is a tree with a branch sticking off it, like some people I know saw. Especially
when we've got, casts, tracks, stuff like that, which are a bit more compelling, aren't they, than the pictures. Hi, Dave, how you doing? We need to understand that to this point, everything is just theory. It is really, isn't it? And people resist, kind of resist when you want to examine this subject. And it's not because you're trying to say it doesn't exist. You can still investigate something and question things without trying to take anything away from the subject, or the fact that it is out there. So I don't know. people don't want to, though. There's very much a big kind of fantasy bubble around this subject.
There is. It's interesting that Hiker Dave said that. Hiker Dave had a picture on. They just put a video up. He and the guy he goes hiking with, and people saw something in it, and he didn't just say, "Hey, this is a Bigfoot." You know, he's taken the time to try and figure out what it was. He's gone back out. He's done. He did a show recently, which I was very glad to see. Dave, thank you. But just to have people back at it is great. But he's trying to figure out what it is, and that's the thing. It doesn't matter if we're wrong about it. It matters that we try and recapture it, figure it out, see what it could have been. That shows at least a little bit of effort on our part as Bigfooters to the rest of the world. You know? Otherwise, people just say, well, did you do this? Well, you're wrong. There's a whole lot of that. You're wrong going on.
Yeah.
And it's too bad.
It's, easy to get carried away, isn't it? Sometimes we do have biases. We don't think, we do judge. We say we don't, and it's just, we're human, aren't we? We do these sort of things, but we really need to kind of like strip this subject down. I do say it a lot, and let's start with what we do know, and take everything else away,
right?
And then see where we're at. And like I say, people are just repeating stuff as well. Someone will say something and then it's repeated. This is what Bigfoot does, when we don't know. I'm hoping to get Hiker Dave on soon, when he gets back to me. If he's got some free dates, that would be great to catch up with him on the channel. I know he's a busy guy, but I do hope and wait. He will reach out again, Dave, if you're listening. So yeah, we naturally do look for patterns. It's so interesting to, when someone sends you a picture and you can actually see 5 faces, tiny ones, big ones. You get those 2 eye holes, and then you try and create something around there, and people stop looking at everything. Then they're just creating the face without thinking about all the other bits that are actually making up. Say a stick goes this way to create a kind of, brow. It probably just carries on somewhere, but you're not looking to see where it's carrying on to. Yeah, another thing. How you doing, Chris? Pixelation. That is a problem. Huge problem. Pixelation. Just.
All these new cell phones are really working on that, but we talked about that earlier, Danielle. So now we have another problem. We've got these cameras that don't pixelate, and we can't share that super like image now, whatever they are, 20 megapixels. You can't share that on YouTube or Facebook because it only downloads at a certain size. You can't even email them to a friend. I had to reduce the size of the photos I sent you earlier. So it's a two-way street. But I think that I think cameras have come a long way. I think our photography skills as Bigfooters needs to go the rest of the way. I can't hear you, Daniela. No.
I was saying maybe you need to plug in, but it's me. I was on my on mute.
Okay.
I just realised because I was going, I can't hear me. Yeah, it's not you, it's me.
All right.
Anyway, are you, Maggie? I like to know the difference between dead fallen structures and what makes a glyph a glyph. Now we're interpreting.
Who said that? Where is that?
Maggie.
Maggie.
In Australia. Yeah.
Yeah, that is an excellent question. And then we have to figure out, do they do these things? And how do we, like, it's something I study, it's something that if you go back through my videos, it's been a big part of it. But it's something that is easily kind of poo-pooed by a lot of experts. I spent 2 years sitting in the woods of New Hampshire with people in the experimental forest who study trees and forestry and what have you, asking them, hey, what's this? What's this? What's that? A lot of it can be ruled out, but every once in a while I'd show them something and they'd go, geez, I don't know. It looks constructed. So
Yeah.
it's tough to figure that. Go with your gut. If you think it is, follow it. If you see a repeating pattern, that's the other thing that grabs me about the glyphs is you'll see things that it's the same combination of lines or shapes over and over again. So that's curious.
Yeah, definitely. Nana Boss Continuum, how you doing? Good to see you in here. So I'm just trying to go through the chat just because I don't want to miss any. Do you love my cloud pareidolia pictures?
My favorite was the duck or the goose.
I like this one. This is cute. This is just the field behind my house, and I've captured so many pictures on there you won't believe. Colour clouds, so many different, lots of duck. Get quite a few ducks. Don't know what that's about, but it's everywhere, isn't it? I mean, you can make it happen. This makes me think of Never Ending Story. You know, the dog that's like flying through the sky, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's such a. I find it toxic. The whole how serious people can get about an image that's blurry or just with no proof at all. With no proof at all, you can become very defensive, and you know, yes, you know, how can I put it? It's crazy.
Yeah, tear the other person down supporting your work. Either way, whether you're a believer and you're tearing down the person who swears it's Bigfoot, or whether you're the person who took the picture and someone says, gee, could you show me that? Because I don't think it's there. And that happens. And you know, I most of these that I see, I'm like, well, that could be something. So how do you it's one thing when it's the shadow and is it a bush, is it not? It's another thing when people start pulling these like eyes and nose and mouth out. That's
I think if it's it's a little bit like religion. Don't push it on someone if they're not into it. If they don't see it, if they don't get it,
right.
Move on. Don't try and force something that you can't prove. I think that's the bit I don't like. That's the bit that's not good and healthy. When you're doing that to people, trying to push something you can't prove. I mean, it sounds deluded. If you really break it down, it's just why would you do that? And you got to respect. Some people want to do things their way, and some people want to do it another way. Go and do it, but you don't need to drag people along or make them feel like they're not getting it, or however else it wants to be put. We're all entitled to our opinions, and that's where it ends. We share them. We don't argue about them.
Right.
There's no point in arguing with somebody who can't see something and doesn't want to see something. He's not even interested in seeing something. You have to find somebody else to get to agree with you or disagree with you. It doesn't seem like you want an opinion when you're trying to force it on you. So that's my
right.
How you doing, Shane? Our brains are wired to pick out faces. That's right. Primitive defense mechanism. Yeah, you sent some pictures to me. Should we look at them?
Let's do it. This is from the woods of New Hampshire.
So I'll put like the whole wood up first, shall I? This one.
That's one of my favorite campsites.
Nice.
And somewhere in that picture is a Bigfoot.
Oh.
And I was absolutely convinced this is a Bigfoot. I had just ended a hike, went back, sitting by that nice fire, having a beer, heard a noise. My camera was on the table next to me, and I reached down, grabbed my camera. It had just been on video, and so I thought it still would be. I tapped the screen, so the camera went on, and I hit the little red button, and it made that noise. And the Bigfoot I was looking at just kind of instantly disappeared.
Mm.
And
Yes,
I
they
thought, oh
do.
my gosh. So I had to get up and go chase him and take more pictures.
Yeah.
And I
So
did.
this is in a little bit closer.
This is with a cell phone, and this is the second picture I took. And as you zoom in, unfortunately, it's pixelated, but you can see the brow ridge. Now there's a leaf in front of his head. You can see the brow ridge. You can see the cheekbone. You can see the shadow where his eye is. You're looking at a 3/4 rear view. You can see the bicep, the tricep. As you get closer, you can see like the scapula is dark and it's over towards the right-hand side of the body in that picture. You can see the what are they? Traps on the neck? What is that comes off there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, this was, there's a clearer version of this picture, and like you can really see all those muscles defined, and it looks like half man, half like silverback gorilla.
Mm-hmm.
So because it wasn't on video, and because I'm a Bigfoot hunter, I took off into the woods and tried to get more pictures. So.
And so this comparison shot, let's talk about this.
Yeah. And this is what I found when I got out there. Is
that it though? You know, is that, like you said, there's a tree, isn't it, on the left of the first image? But can you see that? But in the second one,
it at this point, in my opinion, it doesn't matter if that's it or not. Just the fact that that stump exists, similar color, similar angle. You know, my point is now moot. How can I, with that stump there, even though I don't think it's in the right spot, if you look at the Bigfoot picture,
mm-hmm.
there's to Bigfoot's left is a small tree. If you look at the if you look at the stump, there is no tree.
There isn't one, yeah.
To the left. So, am I at the wrong angle? Is it the wrong picture? Is it? You know?
It's the thing is, there's questions, isn't there? There's like reason to. Thank you very much, Donna Boss. Thanks for becoming a member of the Hidden Existent family. You're making some effort to try and work this out, which is what a lot of people don't do. And the thing is, it could be that, or it could have been Bigfoot. How do we know? The fact you said, though, it disappeared. Yeah, I mean, you felt there was some movement there.
Right? I saw it from where I was sitting. By the time I stopped investigating and went back to my seat, now my chair didn't move, right? I didn't see it anymore. I did not see like the Bigfoot in the woods. I went back. I camped there in February, and I took pictures with no foliage. And unfortunately, up in New Hampshire, some people cut down trees, so a lot of the trees were missing to do the comparison. But those two photos that you just showed were taken on the same day. But my sitting in the same spot, or as close as I could get, by that fire, trying to line up trees without any foliage, there was nothing there. So, but as far as I'm concerned, that picture is probably pareidolia just because of that stump. It's somewhere, in that woods. I think it was, a ways off to the right of it. But how can I, like, if I bring you back there and you go and find that stump, it's actually an entire tree trunk. It's not just a stump. How can I say I saw a Bigfoot right there, and there's a stump that's the same shape and color, however many feet away, 10, 20 feet away.
Yeah.
So
kudos for trying to debunk yourself. We all should. You're right. Everybody should before you present something. Have something, or even like this, an example of like, I'm not sure. It could have been this. We have to be honest. We have to be,
we have to be honest with
really
ourselves
honest with
first.
ourselves. Yeah.
And that's, I think there's a lot of the people that are more interested in the Bigfoot and the excitement of Bigfoot than the proof of Bigfoot, because they know it's out there. And I get that. I understand that. But the second we start telling other people this is a Bigfoot, it's that definite thing. Once we put that conviction behind it and don't have the ability to prove it, it undermines anything we've ever had conviction in. Is that awful of me to say? I don't want to tear people apart. I don't want to criticize others. I gave kudos earlier to Dave for really looking into that thing that people saw in his picture or in his video. And that's important. People are going back to figure it out, to try and maintain their credibility, their without it, we're all, the entire Bigfoot world is just a bunch of hoaxers and fakers. I'm sorry.
There's a lot going on, isn't there? And this is a problem. It's just so hard to find out what's true and what isn't. And people even just don't even realize they're doing it to themselves as well, which is a problem. I mean, it's just like normal now to support this sort of stuff without realizing the bigger picture of, maybe we can put energy into supporting something really, really much more, worthwhile. This is just my opinion. Nobody has to fall out with people. And I'm not pushing it on anybody. You can go and do whatever you want. This is just my opinion, but it's just one of those, isn't it? Mary, I have a suspicion that someone does have a good photo and is hanging on to it. Absolutely. And video, I'm pretty sure. Possibly even, evidence.
And yeah, why, as a Bigfooter, if you think you have something, why would you show the world and not, like, if it's this person we're talking about who has this legitimate evidence, it's like that winning lottery ticket that we hold on to until we get all our ducks in a row and have formed a trust and have a lawyer and have an accountant, have everything lined up so that we don't give it all to the state or the feds and taxes. It's the same kind of thing. If I had a picture of Bigfoot, I'd be holding on to it. And I don't really show that picture that you just showed because there was movement, there was noise in the woods, and I've been back like a ton of times to try and see. That's one of the hottest areas I go to. And I've had like Huffy man barks, I've had other evidence around it. So I haven't shown it to disprove it until I prove it. But now I've shown it and pretty much disproved it.
There's no way you can prove it. This is the thing. It's just fact. There's no way you can prove. And it's sad, but it's true. And that's the reality of it all. Jodie, I'd say about 98%, if we're thinking of the same popular. I don't know if that's the right word, but yeah, there's lots of people out there just passing stuff off, and people are quite happy to look at it and support it. And because you put your trust in people as well, you put your trust in people, and you don't want to think you're being deceived, or maybe maybe they don't know what they're looking at and are so wrapped up in their own kind of like belief. Because there's a difference between people who are like us tonight talking about this picture and people who are trying to sell something, trying to push a narrative and make money from it. And no, it's not, I'm not saying, if you want to make money from something, but at least be honest about it. At least put something truthful out there, or at least, you know, with some basis. Can't keep feeding people the same old thing. I mean, unless you want it, but for me, don't you want more? Don't you want a little bit more? Don't you want to see a little bit more than what you keep getting fed? I mean, what do you guys think in the chat? What do you think, Max? I know you. What do you think?
Yeah, no one ever really does it. I don't have an issue hiding it. I think there needs to be more discourse, not yelling, less yelling. But I think when someone's shoving something down your throat, you got to say, hey, stop. Whether it's you stop watching their channel or whether you say, listen, I've seen enough. I don't think it's a Bigfoot because of this. You've told me why you think it's a Bigfoot. Let's drop it. But I think there needs to be conversation between the entire Bigfoot world. You know, we've got people who are wooers, we've got people who are apers, we've got people who are parallel human species, you know, and we're all in this together. The rest of the world sees us as the same kind of crazy. So let's discuss it. Here's why I think Bigfoot walks through portholes. Portals, not portholes, unless he's on a boat. Then
I say that sometimes. Yeah. And then I always think, I'm not on a boat.
But like discussion about that, I think is necessary because it's not like any of us are absolutely right. You know, none of us has the proof that we need to fully substantiate our point to anyone. So why, you know, why argue? Why shove our opinion down other people's throats? Let's talk about it. Let's leave it open. I used to work for a company and we had this god awful word, yo, right? Which wasn't yes, wasn't no. We just kind of reached this point of yo, you think this, I think that, you know, let's agree to disagree for now until we get more information to figure it out. And it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
It's a, you know.
Yeah. Again, as much as I want it to be a real photo, it's so much up to your interpretation. But that again is not. It's just an opinion, isn't it? An interpretation. It's not fact. And we can look at these as much as we want and still never know. And you know, for me, I just don't. I've not been. I've always said for a long time. Even probably Dave knows, like structures and stuff and photos are just not my cup of tea. It's not something I want to spend time looking at and, like I say, you know, speculating. And I just want to. I want, you know, new stuff. And I want it now. I don't want it now,
but yeah, but what is? Do we want new stuff or do we want to?
I want something different. I want different. You know, now with all this equipment. Okay, so all this equipment has come now. We're hoping we've got to improve on what's out there. You would think. Maybe it's more about opportunity. Maybe it's all right having the equipment, but you can't guarantee finding a Bigfoot. So, you know, maybe people need to work together. If you're in an area where there's something going on, and if there's a researcher out there with the equipment, you know, this could be like a win-win situation for people where you could have someone come around and have a look what's going on for you, either confirming or not. I mean, I don't know. It's an idea, that's all. But it's hard to find these things. So, I mean, again, there's people with the equipment, but we don't know what they're getting because we don't know everybody who's out there and what they're doing. So who knows? Who knows? Some people might be so far ahead of this subject, and we're just here on YouTube thinking we know everything we know so far, and that might be completely wrong, you know?
Well, Yes, we could all be wrong, but that's because we all try and figure it out based on our limited, um, or our biased minds. Not really our limited minds, but our minds are, down a certain focus because of our upbringing, whatever, because of our past, because of our education, because of our experiences in the woods, because of our experiences with Bigfoot, because of whatever. But most of the good data is just that. It's raw data. It's not interpreted data. It's not data that's been, falsely skewed by some opinion to just say one thing. It, a footprint is a footprint. Now, size means a lot. Does that mean Bigfoot aren't small? That small Bigfoot don't walk in mud? No, it doesn't. But what else do we need to look for in those prints? And I think we really need to reevaluate even our footprint data. Simply because, did I ever tell you this story? Can I tell you guys a story?
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay. So not in that campsite that I had the picture of, but in the one up the road and on the other side of the road, just a little ways. I was camped alone. It's a huge campsite right on the side of a river. It's beautiful. And it's right near a lot of trailheads. So I got this site, set up my camp. It was clearly just me because it's a huge site and I just had a little tent and a fire. And this car was going up and down looking for a place to camp. And finally, he'd been by like 3 times in 2 directions. So it's like 6 times he's realizing this guy's all alone at this huge site. So he pulls in and he says, "Hey, would you mind terribly if I share this camp spot?" Actually, that's not what he said. He said, "I tell you what, if you share your campfire with me in this site, I'll share my bottle of bourbon." That's the way to share a campsite, by the way. So this guy and I sat and talked in front of the fire with his, a glass of bourbon each, a little one. And he said, "Hey, you got a bunch of Bigfoot stickers on the back of your car. Do you believe in that stuff?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, actually, that's kind of why I'm here." So this guy was a scientist from Cambridge, Massachusetts. We were in New Hampshire, just a short drive. And he said, "I think you guys are wrong." And I said, "About Bigfoot?" He said, No. I've been watching. I don't remember whether it was Finding Bigfoot or whether it was the new one. Is that Expedition Bigfoot? Whatever the new show was.
Yeah, I don't know, but
And he said, so I study, I forget what it's called. It's a science, human movement, but he designs prosthetic legs or prosthetic limbs at a robotics company down in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And he said, "You guys are wrong." He said, "All these eyewitness accounts of Bigfoot running have him running smoothly. And you guys say that a Bigfoot has a prehensile foot." And he said, "Watch an animal with a prehensile foot walk. A gorilla, a chimpanzee, an orangutan, they all have this like wobble to them. If you guys are looking for a creature that is stealthy, steady, and fast, you ought to be looking for something with arches." Now, this is a scientist. Years ago, like one of my old videos, I found this 17-inch print, except it looks just like a human print. It pretty much has an arch. It has that kind of question mark shape to it. And I thought, wow, maybe we're looking for the wrong thing. Now, I'm not a scientist. I don't have years. Like if I told this to Cliff Barackman, he'd laugh in my face and explain to me about this pad and why and why and why. But then the scientist proceeded to tell me that I think it's 8% of the human population has a mid-tarsal break, not an arch, flat feet. So if, you know, a bunch of us can have that, can a bunch of them have the other? But what I'm saying is, and it took me kind of a roundabout way to say it, is how much of the information that we rely on, never mind the information that we are kind of bluffing our way through, how much of that information we're basing our studies on is even correct. You know, we have a lot of good ideas, we don't even have theories. So how do we clean up? I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I'm just saying, yeah, with difficulty. I don't know what he's meaning there. But yeah,
I always ramble like a Dave.
yeah, I see your point, I think.
Clear as mud.
Clear as mud.
Yeah.
Just like this subject.
And some of these pictures.
And some of these pictures.
So
Mary Stillwell, absolutely right. It's a bit like religion. Everyone's entitled to their own belief. And in the end, it will be right or the wrong opinion. That's it. It's just so hard to prove anything. And we all want the same thing at the end of the day, really, don't we? We all want to try and get to this answer. Why, you know, what? I just don't get it. This, you know, going back to the things that are not moving us forward. And I know it's not that easy just to get a picture, just to do that. As Murray F, not seen you for a long time, stranger. Mind you, when you're losing your seeing one, it's hard to get in gear taking pics. It is. But some of these guys are going out looking for them. They're prepared for them. Do you think if you're prepared to see one, you can get your together and take a pic? Does awareness, knowing they're out there, help? Shane says they all have 3 arches. They have all 3 arches. We've been saying that, and we'll do a show in due time. Yeah, this is something Shane's interested in, the arches. So that's interesting you say that. And Claire Dog, that's right. Lick the like button. It ain't going to lick itself.
okay.
There you go.
Oh, I don't have one. I'm in a different thing. I have a like button on the screen over there, but not over here.
You can do it later. You can do it later. As long as you do it, you can do it later.
Oh, I will. Oh, I definitely will. So, but yeah. Your chat is quality. I like the people in it. And so Shane, I'm not saying that I know which it is. I'm just saying how much information, how much weight do we put on this old information where we have so many new resources to look through it. So, and you know, I don't know where to go with it. I don't know, you know, but is our pictures going to be like the end all be all? Is that going to be proven through a picture? No, because we tear them all apart anyway. So
yeah.
So what is that evidence that we're seeking? I don't know.
I mean, now, you know, with metadata and that, we can kind of prove video. I'm guessing that you can prove a video is in original and not been doctored with. You must be able to, if you can put a location, you know, an area. I don't know. I mean, there's got to be something. They can prove it in court, can't they? A video. Does anybody know if metadata covers you for that?
I was on a murder trial once, and the guy's cell phone pretty much is what put him away. Just the fact that every time he went by a tower, it dinged, and pictures do hold the metadata, but can that be fudged? You know, are we better off with someone back out in the swamp with regular film, or the woods with regular film? I don't know.
Jean says, just because it's old, don't make it wrong. That is cancel culture. Where is that going to keep? Where is that going to keep us divided in the dark? You know what? But there is a division. There's always division, and we are in the dark, like a lot. And there's nothing wrong with people doing what they want to do, but I'm hoping there's an amount of people trying something different, doing something different.
That's my point, Gene. I agree with you. Just because it's old doesn't make it wrong. I totally see that point and agree with it. A lot of the Bigfoot, I'm going to call it lore, right? Because we don't have Bigfoot facts. A lot of the Bigfoot lore out there is based on a lot of just assumptions. What do they call it? Come on, who's the guy? Aristotle. Aristotelian assumptions, which is a bunch of people who have knowledge in a field say it must be this, therefore it's this, and it gets etched into this law. It happened a lot with archaeology. You know, in the last 100 years, until we get to now, we have things like ground penetrating radar, and they can see that a lot of what they used to say is just not true anymore. And it doesn't mean everything they said before is wrong, but boy, there have been a lot more discoveries using newer technology that seem to be a lot more accurate than the older stuff. And that's not to argue with you, Gene. I'm actually agreeing with you. Let's look for what is strong evidence and hold on to that if we have any, and then we can, apply science to newer evidence, better evidence. Let's get better at what we do.
Yeah.
So,
like I say, it doesn't have to be everybody. Everyone has their own level of what they can do, what they're capable of doing, what equipment they've got, whatever you feel comfortable with doing. It's all part of the puzzle. But I mean, I don't know whether we'll ever get an answer, but I hope we get a bit closer somehow.
I do. And you know what? Maybe one of these pictures that we're calling pareidolia is a real Bigfoot. But how do we get beyond that? How do we prove it?
That's the thing,
right?
Yeah.
One good thing would be a before and after shot. Go get the picture without it standing there. Then we know what we're looking at.
Yeah. I think I talked about this on Sunday night about an experience I had with someone who was sending me some stuff, and I did make it clear that, and I didn't, I made it clear that it wasn't about the picture. It's about the mentality that comes with it, about how you what you're thinking, and how it can quite easily run away, your imagination, and really you have to be grounded. It's not about the pictures. Like you say, there could be something there. But you can't insist on it. You can't say it's fact, or ask someone to trust you. It's definitely there. You don't know that, and this is a problem. It's not worth, for me. It's not worth looking at him personally. I don't want to spend any more time.
Right.
Life's busy, and then you've got all your other stuff to do. And you get drawn into this stuff, and I don't, I've never liked these pictures, and that's what they end up doing, just wasting, personally, my time. And you don't have to agree with me. Anyone can do whatever they want. I've always said that. We can all be friends still, just about. Maybe not everybody, but most people. We have a right to feel the way we feel. People need to respect that and not push it in other people's faces. And that's it.
That is. So how do we, let's say there is a picture out there that someone has that may be the real thing. Are there ways to validate that? Are there ways to rule out other than, like, if someone has a legitimate picture with no before or after, what do we do then? You think it might be, but you can't prove it.
It's the value of it, is it? Is it of any value?
I don't know.
If you've had an experience, absolutely, it's of some value to you. If you weren't there, if you going over old stuff and you see a black blob or something, of what value does it? What is it actually doing? You know, what does it mean? What are people feeling? You know, when they see something, are they convincing themselves that something was there, or do they want it to be there, or what's so important about finding a face in a bunch of trees or bush? I don't know, but yeah, we need to ask ourselves that, you know. So next Friday we've got Hiker Dave coming on.
All right, Hiker Dave.
Yeah,
I'll be here to watch. Well, not here to watch, but there to watch.
yeah.
There we go.
No, it'd be great. You can hear him rambling then, can't you?
I can hear his accent.
Oh, his accent.
One of the greatest accents in the world, that Boston
He's
accent.
he's got a great accent. He really has. Raptor Crazy, long time no see. I apologise. To me, you have to be in the right place at the right time to film a Bigfoot. They're not everywhere where people think they're going to be. They're always on the move. That's it. They don't just hang out in the same place. You know, you'd be very lucky, wouldn't you, to go back to a place and see one in the same place. These things, I think, are moving all the time. So, yeah, you can't plan these things. This is why it takes a lot of dedication, really, a lot of time. You have to put yourself into a position where you're going to be waiting around maybe a long time. But the only way, you know, you can't, you know, you have to have the shop open to sell something, don't you? You have to be there to get something. So a lot of it is that it's luck, kind of knowing where you need to be, but you can't guarantee what you're going to get. And that's the thing with it. I mean, it's a lot, isn't it, to just dedicate some time to go out, spend a few months. It's not everyone's, you know, kind of practical thing to do, is it? But this subject is not a very practical subject.
It's not. It's tough. It's like, you know, takes a lot of effort to do it. I've seen, I don't know if that was a Bigfoot. I've seen two, right?
Yeah.
I've seen one in 40 years of looking, more than that actually. And some of these people who get these pictures of him get 10, 20 pictures of different Bigfoots over, you know, fairly short periods of time. So that is one of those things that makes me, I don't know. If someone's got 40 pictures of Bigfoot, I think maybe we have to look into their methods and see if they're really pictures of Bigfoot, you know, just on our own level. I'm not going to tear anyone apart. I'm not going to yell at them. But at some point, you know, fool me once, shame on one of us. You know, fool me twice, shame on the other one, whatever that.
Exactly. It's just a big shame, isn't it? It's just a big shame. And, you know, once you get burnt, I'll use the term burn, you kind of do, don't you? You get fooled. When you're new to this subject as well, you start getting into it and you're following it and you go, oh, that's what it's all about. And then you hear something or you see something and something gets debunked. And then you really question, why did I believe that? So it's very easy to do that. We all do it. So you've got to have a little bit of, you have to kind of like, you know, not take everything with a pinch of salt, but maybe yeah, you can't guarantee everything is for real, and it's a shame for the people who are having for real experiences. And you know, I just want to make sure people know that I totally 100% support anyone who's had an experience, an encounter, and you know, it does upset me that there's people out there who haven't and are making it harder for people to come forward and to share their experiences and their encounters and details that might help us somehow I don't know what it'll help us with, but I feel like the more details we can collect, it's something to start with. And because there is no guidebook to this, there's no nothing. Literally, this is a great mystery. I know a lot of people think of it like that. And I think a lot about ways, techniques. I think if I was physically in a place where I could be doing it, I'd be doing it. And trying to work this puzzle out. So I want people to succeed. I want people to come up with stuff. But for me personally, don't want to see the blobby, blurry pictures. I don't feel like there's any value to the subject with them, unless you've got something to go with it. And even then, I'd rather listen to your story than you trying to show me a picture to prove something that, is neither here nor there, to be honest. Dave, you are a star. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. So I don't know what you people think. Where do you cross the line? Is it cross the line? Where do you draw the line, rather, of what you want to see, what you expect now? And, if this was any other subject, wouldn't you want a bit more? Wouldn't you want people to be showing you a little bit more, instead of just making big claims, but not being able to back them up? Because it's kind of an insult as well, to expect people just to go along with what is being said. Maybe because a few people go along with it as well. You don't have to be that room temperature. You don't have to stick with the crowd. You can have a different opinion, and I never want anyone to think that you can't do that and not still fit in with a community that is essentially trying to stick together and go in the same direction. I mean, I know there's always going to be division, there's always going to be arguments, but there is a bigger percentage of us who are on the same page here, I'd like to think. And just say no to Blob Squatch. That's what we need. I'm going to be making a flyer for that as soon as we finish this show. And I'll send them out to anybody. We need to be posting them up everywhere and get rid of Blob Squatch because it's dangerous. It's dangerous for people's mental health more than anything. And this isn't, would never ever take the mickey out of people about this subject. But I'm human, and sometimes you can just have enough of stuff. You can have enough of plus on top of everything else that goes on in your lives, there's a limit to what I want to tolerate, what I want to see. And if people don't like that, it's tough. We're all entitled to be and do what we want without upsetting, hurting other people or anything like that, And yes, Maggie, I will get that now. It's the Bigfoot Hunters channel.
I haven't put a video up in, I don't know, months.
Oh.
But I do have a channel, and there's a decent history of videos. I have a tendency to talk a lot and preach too much. I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if you could tell.
No, not really. No, I thought I was talking more than you, but that's impossible.
But thank you for asking, Maggie.
Just put a link up now in the chat to Max's channel, and I'll put it in the description for anybody who comes later to watch.
And I'm going back out, so hopefully there'll be more videos. But
yeah, from Florida, maybe. Hey.
I'm going down through like Asheville, and I find a lot of stuff outside of Asheville in some spots. And then I'll be going on down to like the Green Swamp and check out that area that Matt, what does he call it? The corridor that Matt Larson talks about, things like that. So
cool. Torchy on the Run, how you doing? Good to see you. Guys, we've come to the hour. We've come over the hour. I think it's been a good chat tonight.
You know what? I got on my know-it-all soundy rants, and I apologize to everyone. I don't actually know anything. I just want to say that I have a lot of opinions, though. So if I get too preachy, I apologize. But thank you for letting me spout my stuff, Daniela. I want the Bigfoot world to be a little more understanding and better at what we do. So I
And
think
me
there's room.
too.
Yeah, there's room for all of us.
Definitely, definitely. And you know, it takes all of us though to create this. You know, if we want something better, then we all have to be part of that, and make that happen. And just to have better kind of like, you know, I mean, Kerry used to say it all the time, is to raise the bar on what we're seeing. There's nothing wrong with people doing what they want to do. I keep saying this, but you know, if we want to move forward with this subject, then let's like, you know, let's start moving forward with it and changing our attitudes a little bit, and not take this subject so seriously. At the end of the day, there's like much more important things going on, and this is just you know, an adventure, a journey, whatever you want to call it. I don't think there's a great prize at the end of it, unfortunately. I don't think you know. I'm not sure who's gonna be getting that, but I think that's kind of out of our reach. Who knows? Could be completely wrong. I have no idea. But in the meantime, you know, we're all people. We've all got hearts. We've all got feelings. We've all got, you know, other stuff going on. This subject shouldn't be tearing us apart. It should be, you know, exciting and interesting and all that. But yeah, I'm going to get them flyers made up. Say no to blob squatch. You know, let's start living a healthy squatch life, and cut out the blob squatch. It might, it might help, who knows. Guys, thank you so much for turning up tonight. I think it's been a great chat. You all in the chat have all helped that happen, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. Might see you on Sunday night. Nothing planned yet, but definitely next Friday. Hiker Dave's going to be on rather. We're going to be talking about what's going on with him. So once again, Max, thank you. Thanks everyone. Have a great
Thank you.
night, and I'll see you all soon. Oh, hit the like button, leave a comment. That'll really help the channel out. All right, guys, lots of love. Bye bye.